Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Gist with Girls in Science and Technology. Gist with Gist. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, Girls in Science and Technology Ghana, and let's learn from our amazing females in the science, technology, engineering, and math field. Our females in the STEM fields. Let's continue to encourage our young females to pursue careers in STEM. Kindly share this video with all the amazing females out there who have to see this. Thank you. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome once again to Gist with Girls in Science and Technology. Gist with Gist. So on today's show, I have a lovely woman, an intelligent woman. You know, we bring intelligent women on this show, women who are killing it in their various fields, right? She goes by the name Dr. Juliet Ohemeng-Ntiamoah. She's going to tell us what she does. There are so many STEM careers out there, and we are going to explore as many as we can. She's going to share with us what she does, how her journey has been like from Ghana, moving outside the country, and how she's been able to balance things out. Hello, dear. Welcome to Gist with Gist.
Thank you, Ohima, for having me.
Thank you for making time, dear. So we are going to dive right into it, right? Can you please share your educational background with us?
Definitely. So I started off. Maybe I'll start from like creche or kindergarten, St. Anthony's Preparatory, somewhere in Latabi or Koshi, for KG, and I think I even started that command to Meadow Preparatory School to finish my JSS. And then from Meadow Preparatory School, I continued to Labone Secondary School, and where I did science, general science, yeah. And then from Labone, I went to KNUST to do environmental science. And from KNUST, after my national service, I worked with Tulo for a while and then moved to the US to finish my PhD at Tennessee Tech. So I got my PhD in engineering, civil and environmental engineering, for that matter. Yeah, so briefly, that's how my educational background is. And if there are any specific questions, I would love to answer.
Okay. So why did you decide to go into the science field, the STEM field?
Okay. I think, in Ghana, we have this notion, right, that if you're a very good student, you do science. So I think at the time I was going to secondary school, I felt that I was smart, and then smart people do science, but I didn't know exactly what I was going to do in science. And I also remember that in JSS or even in primary, sometimes we tell ourselves what we want to do in the future, and we all said doctors, right? So so I think it's at the backdrop of this little knowledge about smart people do science, and with science you can do medicine, that kind of box that I was playing in. So that got me to do science at Labone, but then after finishing it, to continue in science at KNUST, I was, very curious. So I was asking people lots of questions. I was, asking people, what programs are there to do besides medicine, or beside medicine or engineering. And even engineering, I didn't really know the various engineering disciplines. So I was curious, and I kept exploring. I kept asking people questions. And luckily, there was this big sister of a classmate of mine, okay, who at the time was doing environmental science at KMUST. In fact, she was part of the first batch. She's called Rashida. So I remember I'll go with my friend to, their house, and I'll meet her sister who is at Tech doing environmental science, and I'll ask her questions. Also, what's the course about? When you finish, where can you work? And all of those things. So, and she was very nice, very patient. She explained to me what environmental science is and some of the prospects in there. So that got me interested to, write it down as one of the things I could do. And I think at a point, so I met somebody that talked about computer science. So I became interested in computer science as well, wrote it down that, and then I met somebody who said, oh, actuarial science, they can get lots of money. I was like, oh, okay, I like money too. Yeah, so I think basically what I want to say is I was, I had this open mind and I was curious. I was, asking questions after, that whole box idea of science to the smart people do science and all of that. I came to a point in, I think, finishing high school thereabouts, or in high school, where I became curious to know what is there. And I was asking people questions. And then it led me to have some interest in environmental science. So I did it at KNUST.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you are not a medical doctor, but you are still a doctor. What exactly,
oh yeah, definitely.
what exactly do you do? Explain your profession to us.
Okay, so now let's say I'm a wastewater process engineer at Jacobs Engineering Group, and Jacobs Engineering is like one of the biggest firms in the US in engineering design. So it's a consulting company, and we do a lot of technical design and consulting. And as an environmental engineer or as a wastewater engineer, we help our clients to, enact or employ the best practices to meet their environmental permits. So a typical example is in the US, and we don't really have this in Ghana. It's one of the things I'll later address, later in my career. But in the US, when you take a shower, when you flush your toilet, when you, wash something in the sink, when you do laundry, all that wastewater is piped to a wastewater treatment plant. So you don't have this, gutters where like
Causing
your
floods
laundry
and
and all of that. Yeah. So it's piped to a wastewater treatment plant. And these wastewater treatment plants are supposed to clean it, treat it using various processes to, a certain level of quality before they can discharge it into, a river or into the environment. So, by extension, the same, treated water can be recycled back into the environment, right? Yeah. So so every city in the United States has huge wastewater treatment plant. Now, there are some clients, or some of the treatment plants that don't have really good processes. So they treat the water, but they are not able to meet their permits. So that's where we come in. We review their process. We say that, okay, well, the aeration you have here is not enough. That is why, for example, your ammonia is high and you're exceeding your ammonia limits. Do this, have this equipment here, or do the cycle. Like maybe you do 1 hour of 3 hours on aeration cycle. It'll help you reach your ammonia limits. So it's around those kind of things. And then now when they treat the wastewater, and let's say the good water quality moves out, right, they are left with huge amounts of residues or solids that they have to treat and also put to good use as well. That's biosolids. We call it biosolids. Now, these biosolids can also be put to another good use, like fertilizer They just have to treat it a little further, and then farmers can take it to apply to their lands. So in that process too, we help them to meet the limits there. There is also a limit on it. I mean, the biosolids you're going to put on somebody's farm should not have pathogens, should not attract vectors. So we try to make sure that they are meeting all of that limit, and then farmers can, comfortably and safely come for it and apply to their land. So it's like taking the waste from, cradle to grave, making sure that we are as much as possible recycling even wastewater. So in practical sense, that is what we do. But the life of a consultant can be like this, because sometimes you get, very different tasks, very different things to do almost every week. So it's like you flow with the tide, but it's been an interesting journey.
It sounds so interesting. It sounds so interesting.
Yeah.
Please, you have to bring that knowledge home and do something. Do
Yeah.
something as required. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll
Yes.
get there.
Yes. So what motivates you? Like, what has been your motivation from the start?
I would say a number of things motivates me, and I remember when I was in Ghana, there was this church, youth church program we did, and I remember one of our leaders saying that where you're coming from should be your greatest motivation, in the sense that if you're coming from, a low background, or, let's say background with low education, or background with low finances, that should be your motivation to change it. If you're coming from a background with high, academic laurels, if you're coming from a background with, good wealth, that should also be your motivation not to dip, the family's image.
Yeah.
So where you're coming from is like one of your greatest motivations. For me, it has been one of them. I mean, in my family, you remember how when I narrated, I said, like, my first mentor, I would say, was my friend's sister, right? She was the one that I had seen, go to the university and do something like this. In my family, or among my siblings, I was the only one even having secondary education.
Wow.
Yeah, as the last born of five. I was even the only one privileged to have secondary education. So making sure that I made use of an opportunity to go to Laboni, an opportunity to go to KNUST, those opportunities, I made sure that I was really maximizing it, because I know where I'm coming from. So if I'm at the university and, people can play, not that I couldn't play, but what I'm trying to say is, if people can take a chance, with whatever they are doing, I felt I couldn't, because of where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So yeah, that has been my greatest motivation. And then there are other motivations. I am a believer. I believe in God, and I think I always say that, Jesus told us a story of how, we are given different talents, right? And as much as possible, I see God as a businessman. And so whatever he's given to you, you should make use of it. So you should make use of it. So that has been one of my main motivations, that whatever I'm doing, I want to, do it to my best, or to, the best of my ability, make the most of it and give back, because God has given me that talent for a purpose. So these are some of the things that guide me or shapes my actions, my thoughts, and all of that.
Wow. You're doing amazing. You've done so well.
Thank you.
And hearing your story, wow. So I think that's also a challenge, right? So that's my next question for you, the challenges you faced, I think you've mentioned a couple or one of them, and how you overcame them. So do you have any other challenge you can share with us, even in the STEM fields, not like from your whole journey, the challenges you faced with?
From yeah, definitely. So I'll be surprised, I think we both will be surprised if somebody, achieves something without challenges, then that one, that achievement could be questionable. So yeah, definitely I've had challenges, and I've had challenges, or let me say unique challenges at every stage of, the educational career. I would just skip to, for something quite related to STEM, because I've already given a background. Finances was a challenge, schooling, but by God's grace we overcame it. Now, one of the challenges that I faced was being able to work outside of your familiarity. For example, when I finished tech with a first class in environmental science. And, I got to do my national service at Technip.
Okay.
Now, Technip at the time, was just starting. We were the first batch of, people, engineers or science students they got from tech. So they selected like petroleum engineers, mechanical, civil, and all of that. And then I was also added to it for EHS, right?
Yeah.
So I remember my engineering colleagues, right, had, let's say, line managers who had come from France or, something to kind of guide them and all of that. I was the only person responsible for EHS.
Let me
to kind of
it. EHS is environmental health and safety.
Health and
yes.
Safety, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was the only person responsible for EHS.
Okay.
And I had just come out of school, and this was my national service. And I was supposed to, in essence, start an EHS department from scratch at the Technique office.
Wow.
That I think that in my career, that remains my biggest challenge ever.
Wow.
So I had no clue in safety. I had no clue in safety. And my boss, I don't know if you got to know Stefan Soleil, if you've been in the industry for like 6 years or something, maybe you might have heard of Stefan Soleil.
Yes.
So as my colleagues were reporting to their line managers and having meetings with them and all of that, I was reporting to the country manager directly. Now
you were a line manager.
Imagine, like, just out of school, national service, and Stefan will come and say, "Where's the evacuation plan, the emergency response plan?" And I'm like, I'm trying to, and he'll be like, "But you had first class in environmental science." I was like, "Yeah, but we're not taught safety." So you're like, "But you had first class." So I mean, it was a huge phase. Like, it was a challenging phase that I think I can talk about that 1 year experience at Technique, and it should be able to make a book.
Right? You were
but
able to deliver.
How did I? Yeah. I was able to deliver. At the time I was even leaving there to go to Talo, I remember Stefan telling me, "You have to recommend somebody like you to take this place, to take your role." And I felt that was a good compliment. I really appreciated it. So the person who even came in, I had to train her for like 2 weeks or so before I left. And now they have, an EHS department, and I'm proud of myself. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm blown away by like all your answers, right? Wow. So what's
Yeah.
next for you? What should we expect from you now?
That's a tough question.
We need those brains home. We need it. We need it here.
That's a tough question. I so what's next for me? For now, I'm doing engineering consulting. I want to do it for a while. I can't tell, how much time, but I have a lot of interests that, I would explore in the next couple of months or years. And it includes helping with STEM education like you're doing. It also includes taking a look at some of the things we do in Ghana with respect to our environmental and sanitation issues. I mean, with my background, I'm really looking into appropriate ways to help, to make things better. So it's definitely on my radar. So I can't say specifically this is next, but these are some of the things in my mind that we'll be exploring in the next couple of months or years. But yeah, it will definitely happen.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
And we are here for it. We are here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the last question, what
Mhm.
advice do you have for the youth, for our young females looking to go into STEM careers?
Yeah, I think that for young females wanting to go into STEM careers, the main thing is have mindsets does a lot of things. Have the appropriate mindset, and your mindset should be that you want to add value wherever you are, and you also want to add value to yourself. Okay, although it's altruistic to think of the other person, or how to help humanity, but it starts from you.
Yeah.
So think of ways to add value to yourself, and one of the ways you can add value to yourself is explore. Don't box yourself. Like I was saying, we all grew up with, oh, if you're a smart student, you do science. If you're doing science, you should do medicine.
Mhm.
Move out of that box and have an open mind. I remember one of my mentees, at the time she was in secondary school, she was like, she wants to do medicine and all of that. And I could see, we've been there before. And I just felt like she could be so many things. Why is she boxing herself to this? Okay. And if you have that open mind and you explore, you even find that thing that you will lead the path. Okay, I don't know how many software engineers or other engineers we have in Ghana, but maybe you have to do something different. And it's talking to people, it's exploring. Now you have internet, you have YouTube. Just explore and find a niche for yourself. And you realize that maybe it's not that traditional trajectory you are you've known or you're used to. Maybe it's something really new you have to pursue to bring some fresh air to your community and to the whole STEM community. So they should just explore, they should be curious, they should ask questions, they shouldn't box themselves up. And I think when they do that, they can add value to themselves and to the whole community. Yeah.
Thank you so, so much, Dr. Juliet. Like, I've really enjoyed this. I'm sure the viewers are
Thank you.
going to
I have
enjoy it too. I've learned a lot. We don't have to forget where we are coming from. We don't have to forget our starting point. And it shouldn't be something to demotivate you, but rather push you on, right? Wherever
yeah.
you're starting from, if you're from a poor family, from a rich family, just aim to be better than your starting point. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And ask questions. As you can see, she asked a lot of questions. She got people who told her about a lot of programs, right, in the university, even before she got into it. So I think she had a fair idea of what she wanted to do, what she wanted to learn, and how she could apply that later. She even went to the extent of asking, where can I work after doing this, right? People normally have this short-term thing. Let me just do this course and pass and leave. Then, after I'll sort myself out. But when you are in, you have to know where it's going to lead you. Thank you so much, Dr. Juliet. I've
Thank you
really enjoyed it.
for having
And I
me.
can't wait for next week, our live session on Facebook. I can't wait for that. Thank you so much. And thank you to our lovely viewers for joining us today. Thank you for watching. Please do also subscribe and like our videos. Thank you.